I do not think Janelle is ever going to get remarried. So Janelle is still in that fundamental Mormon faith, which means that she would agree with Robin that she's still technically married to Cody until, until she has an intimate relationship with another man. And in a lot of ways, I think that's the ideal situation for Janelle. We're going to take a look at their book, Becoming Sister Wives, The Story of an Unconventional Marriage, because even though it was published back in 2012, I think it can help us understand what Janelle thinks is an ideal partner and why I think she's totally content to stay spiritually connected to Cody and physically connected to nobody. Janelle makes her first contribution to the book in chapter 2. So she opens the chapter by talking a little bit about her childhood and her parents. So apparently her father passed away when she was 2 and her mother married somebody else. So Janelle described her stepfather as, quote, distant and emotionally unavailable. Eventually, her mother divorced that guy, but I guess his impact was lasting because Janelle wrote that she knew when she got married and had children, she basically wanted the opposite of her stepfather. She would, quote, look for a man who would be intimately engaged in every aspect of our children's lives. And really, throughout the book, Janelle says many times that if she were to think about marrying a man, it would really just be because she thought he would be a good father. When Janelle described her first interactions with Cody, she talked about the way she saw him relating to kids. I think they were kids in the church. Either way, she wrote, he was energetic and caring, always willing to get down on all fours for any game the kids dreamed up. Cody seemed like exactly the father I had in mind for my kids. Now, just compare this to how the other sister wives talked about their first real interactions with Cody. Christine, for example, wrote about how good-looking Cody was. Mary wrote that she loved how fun and happy Cody was. And Robin wrote about the electricity, the physical spark that she felt between her and Cody. And of course, everyone is attracted to different things, and that's fine. But I just bring up the other women so we can see that Janelle was a bit of an outlier. The other sister wives put Cody in a romantic light. Right at the beginning, the physical connection, while Janelle, on the other hand, was attracted to him because she thought he would be a good father. At another point in the book, Janelle reflected on how her brief marriage to Mary's brother, Adam, her first marriage, influenced what she was hoping for in her next marriage. And she wrote, quote, I think my early failed marriage disillusioned me somewhat, solidifying my notion of matrimony as something both pragmatic and practical. I wanted a strong husband who would be a wonderful father to my children. So basically, Janelle is saying that after her first marriage, she really came to believe that marriage wasn't so much like a romantic, lovey-dovey type of thing, but really like a logical agreement. Janelle loves logic. That it was just a logical, practical agreement between two people with a shared goal. And in this case, the shared goal was to have a lot of kids. Of course, at this point in Janelle's life, she does not need a man to father any children anymore. So Janelle and Cody's children, I think, range in age from like 18 to 28. So, they do need Cody to be a good father. And while they're waiting for him to figure that out, I don't get the sense that any of them are hoping or looking for a new father. To me, that means that the one thing that was pushing Janelle to find a husband back then is irrelevant now. Of course, a woman still has needs, right? And it's possible that Janelle would be looking for a man for other reasons, right? Well, according to what she wrote in the book, I don't think she is. To begin with, Janelle does not seem to be persuaded by physical connection or romantic gestures. Instead, she writes a lot about connecting to a partner through, quote, an intellectual connection. So on page 43, Janelle writes, I have never, ever been someone who's interested in sappy goo-goo eyes, chocolates, flowers, and sunset walks on the beach. The idea of cooing and cuddling doesn't agree with me. On the next page, she continues, quote, I wanted a man with whom I'd have an intellectual connection, who would be happy and willing to have long discussions with me. I wanted a companion, a friend. And if I found these things in a man, I was certain intimacy would develop from that. Now, this passage is so interesting to me because the way I'm reading this, I think she's saying that outside of having children, she would be satisfied with basically a good friend. And even when she was much younger, When, a lot of women are really focused on finding a romantic relationship, Janelle was not looking for that. She was looking for someone to fill what she says are her intellectual needs. And if that happened to be a man, then an intimate relationship could grow from that. Even after she found Cody and eventually married him, Janelle did not describe the marriage as a romantic thing. Talking about the first few years of their marriage, Janelle writes, "While Cody and I still hadn't eased into what most people would consider a conventional marriage, one based on romantic love, we had developed a highly functional relationship. We communicated well with each other and we complemented each other on an intellectual level." Okay, remember when they wrote this book and published this book over 10 years ago, they were still trying to present to us the best of what they had. So I take this to mean that for Janelle, the best thing she wanted was a, quote, functional marriage. I don't know exactly what she means by functional. I assume it's just one where they have lots of kids because that was one of her goals, and that she and her husband be committed to the same religion. In the beginning of the book, she wrote a little bit about being disappointed by her first husband because he wasn't committed to their religion. But I don't know. And I'm curious, what do you think? When Janelle talks about functional marriage, what does she mean? The last reason that I think Janelle is totally happy with her current marital status is the fact that Janelle really likes being independent. Even way back when she was married to Mary's brother, Adam, Janelle was drawn to plural marriage because she thought the women were so independent. On page 33 of the book, she writes about meeting Adam's family, and she writes, quote, "One of the reasons I was so transfixed by Adam's relatives was that they were so outwardly normal. My in-laws didn't dress strangely, as some fundamentalist sects do. The women were strong and independent and had an equal say in family affairs with their husbands." Janelle takes this even further on page 41. Quote, "I've always been independent and happy to spend time on my own and do my own thing, so I had never felt the need to bind myself to someone on an intimate level." Janelle also writes in the book about her decision to go back to school and get her college degree and how that seems to have been a turning point in her life. That was a moment when she realized that she should be in charge of her destiny, basically, and that on her own, she could get a lot accomplished. Okay, let's put all this together, right? Janelle is still in that fundamentalist faith and probably wants a spot in that celestial kingdom. And as long as they stay spiritually connected, Cody and Janelle, then she's got that spot in heaven. And from what the book tells us, it's unlikely that Janelle wants a new husband because she doesn't want more kids. She doesn't need a lot of romantic or physical connection, and she really likes being on her own. Do you remember at the end of season 17, in one of the tell-all episodes, Sukiyana, the reunion host, asked Janelle about the future of her and Cody's relationship. And Janelle said, quote, "I don't want him to come back, but my faith requires we are married eternally. A door has to be open, but I'm not interested in having anyone walk through that door." Okay, so that's my argument. What do you think? Is it likely that Janelle will ever get remarried? Do you think she wants to get remarried? Of course, it's whatever. It's her life. I spent a lot of time researching this, but it is whatever. It's her life. I want her to be happy, but it is fun to just kind of put together the puzzle pieces and try to predict what we think will happen with these ladies that we've been watching for years. I want her to be happy, just like I want all of them to find love and happiness. But yes, this is what I think. I think she's happy being mom, being grandma, being spiritually connected to Cody, but keeping her physical distance from him. But you let me know, what do you think? What do you think lies in the future for Janelle? So I'll either meet you in the comments where we'll keep talking about this, or in the next video where we'll find something else to talk about, because this Brown family, as always, has a lot going on. All right, take care. Bye.